In the household water, what do you think? What are the most common contaminants in Bangalore if we talk about?
Okay, we broadly classify these parameters into three different categories. One we call it as physical parameters, one we call it as chemical parameters, and the third one is microbiology. If you talk about the physical parameters, your pH, your conductivity, right, your color, right, this all comes under your physical test. But when it comes to chemical, the common terminologies that people know is hardness, right, and how much calcium is there, how much magnesium is there, how much TDS is there, how much nitrate is there. So these all come under the chemical. Even this includes your toxic elements, which we commonly call heavy metals, right? So it might be your arsenic, it might be lead, right? It might be chromium. So there are a lot of heavy metals, right, which are actually toxic. So that also is a part of the chemical testing part. Then we have microbiology. As per IS 10500, again it recommends you to do testing of two categories of microbiology parameters. One we call it as E. coli, and the other one what we call as total coliform, right? So if you're talking generally about physical parameters, pH is very critical, because if your water is not within that pH limit, right, so you would have health effects. Now one common problem I'll tell you, the biggest myth today is the water is coming out of my filter. It might be a brand A, brand B. I assume that the water is of great quality.
We'll discuss this point in more detail.
Yeah. So what happens is, when you are actually looking at the parameters, these are generally few of the parameters that we usually ask people to look for.
Okay.
So but at home, if you're talking, the indications would be, let's say you have a kitchen at your home, and the sink, you sometimes see if the sink is of the black color of your brand, right? You can see a discoloration. You can see whiteness there. That means the water is actually hard.
Right, correct.
Right. So sometimes what happens is your metals, all your utensils and all, you can see a white layer around. Yeah. So that means your water is hard. Sometimes your geysers, you see that suddenly kind of white dust coming out, then your water is hard. So the hardness is one parameter that is very easy to identify. But apart from hardness, I don't think anything else can be recognized by normal layman at home. You have to get it tested.
So, like, by your experience, like, what are the common contaminants? Like, after we have done so much of testing and also, what are the common contaminants that you have found?
Okay. One is, of course, TDS. TDS is a very classic problem. Usually, we see that the TDS, especially if you're depending on a tanker water or a borehole water, the TDS seems to be very high, but not the case with Kaveri water, because it's already treated. Your pH tends to vary, okay, and your hardness, because usually we see water with a lot of hardness, and in rare cases we have also seen high iron content and high nitrate content. Okay. So these are usually the contaminants, but when it comes to the tanker water and sometimes your stored water, what we call in apartment, they have spaces called sumps, right? They overhead tanks. If they're not cleaned properly, if they're not maintained properly, then you can also expect some kind of your total coliform contamination.
Okay.
So these are usually the contaminants that what we see commonly for all kind of water samples across Bangalore.